laser machine on, so you're gonna hear that buzzing in the background the whole time. Sorry, but gotta get work done. Let's see. What do we want to talk about today? What are we talking about? I'm in the garage, and we got the buzzing noise going. Actually, you know what? We're gonna pause. We're gonna pause. No, I'm just kidding. It's going. It's going. I was gonna pause it, but then the fan still goes on while it's paused, so it's just gonna go. If you guys are wondering why is it so noisy and what am I making over there, I'm making a kid's hanger. I started cutting it out already. So you see, Maximilian. This way, Maximilian. Still cutting it. I gotta get it out of the board. But yep, that's going. And I got some other orders I gotta work on while that's going. You gotta get all the orders out, guys. All the orders out. It's gonna be cutting for like 10 minutes. So sorry. What do we want to talk about, guys? What's day? Today's Wednesday. It feels like we've been talking about Epstein forever now. And you know what? I'm still, as the Epstein stuff is going on more and more, I'm actually getting more and more curious about it. Like, I remember before, I was kind of like, it's happening, and it's like, it's terrible, blah, blah, blah. What can you do? It seems like no one wants to do anything about it. That's really how I felt like 2 or 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, however long ago we started talking about the Epstein stuff. And then the conclusion I came up with was, well, no one's ever going to do anything about it. Let's just move on. That's literally how I felt. Like, like you feel powerless of what is going on. And then it just felt like, oh, this whole Epstein stuff and Trump, it felt completely avoidable. I think that's what I find very, very interesting about this whole Trump Epstein stuff. This whole thing could be very avoidable if Trump just kind of did what RFK did. And if you guys don't know, what RFK did was basically said, yeah, I was on Epstein's plane. I took it to go excavating and dig some dinosaur bones. That's basically what RFK said about the whole Epstein thing. Similar thing happened with Kevin Spacey, and Chris Tucker, all these other people. They kind of said, yeah, I'm on the plane, I did it, I was over there, but I did this. Trump's strategy on pretending he doesn't know the guy, it's not working. and I've said this many times. What's Trump's thing? Sorry, I gotta go get the cutting. What is Trump's thing? Anytime he gets pushback on something, what does he do? He doubles down. So he said he didn't know the guy, and everyone started coming out with all kinds of things, like the drawings, the pictures, the videos. There's that new one that surfaced. Was that yesterday at a Victoria's Secret runway, and it was like it's the only other footage we've gotten of Trump and Epstein together just hanging out. Besides that one where Trump's like whispering into Epstein's ear. So that's kind of very interesting that it's the new, it's another take onto their kind of like their friendship, their bromance. But yeah, if Trump just said yeah, I knew, this whole situation could literally be avoided very quickly if Trump just went out and said, "Yeah, I knew the guy. We're friends," um, and then things went south, and I mean, like everyone knows all this already. It's already out there. People have been talking about it. That Trump kicked him out of the Mar-a-Lago or whichever club that he was at because of he said that Epstein was a creep. So all Trump needed to do was say, "Yeah, me and him were buddies. I didn't know anything about any of that other stuff that he did, but when I found out, I severed ties with him." That's literally this whole situation could have been avoided if he just played it cool and collected and just like said that, and nobody would be really questioning it because that seems pretty rational. Like, hey, we we're friends, but then I found out about some other stuff and decided not to be his friend anymore. You know what I mean? And I haven't hung out with him ever since. Once I found out that he was a little, he doesn't have to say like he found out that he was into that kind of stuff. Trump could have said, "Hey, when I found out that he was doing something a little shady, I wasn't really sure what it was. I felt uncomfortable. Boom, 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 dunsies." That would have made sense. But this whole like, I don't even know the guy. I don't even know the guy defense that he's going with is not working at all because there's so many pictures and photos of them together. They're, I mean, what he should be doing, because everyone's like, "Oh, what about Bill? What about Bill?" The thing about Bill is that Bill never said he didn't know the guy. You see what I mean? The whole "I don't know" Epstein defense does not work. Ugh. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That whole situation seems completely unavoidable. I'm curious to see. Supposedly, everybody's gonna be start meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell. You know what would be so crazy? If they meet with Ghislaine and Ghislaine just mysteriously disappears, that would be insane. That would be so insane. I saw something about how they're saying Ghislaine supposedly, allegedly, is saying that she is fearful of her life. Well, I feel like the time to take out Ghislaine passed already. Because we're at the point where, I mean, Ghislaine, the timing to take out Ghislaine, if Ghislaine gets taken out right now, that would be insane. Like, I'm just imagining, like, this sounds like one of those, like, if you guys watched 24, you remember 24, the show, where there were so many twists and turns at every point. Like 24, at least the first few seasons, golden TV. But what I always remember watch about 24 is that every single time they catch a break in the case, do you remember this? Like literally, when they catch the bad guy that you've been following for the last like, I don't know, 6 episodes or so. It always turns out that there's another bad guy higher up the food chain, or a twist and turn. Someone that you thought that was a good guy is actually a bad guy. That whole scenario. This whole Ghislaine Epstein connection feels like a long 24 episode where they're on this episode now where. When I watched 24, at least I remember at least the first 3 seasons, me and my friends would always say that what's her name, the character in 24, the first bad girl chick that they kind of like the first double agent. Oh, Nina Myers. Okay. Yes, that's the name of the character, Nina Myers. If you remember watching 24, every single time, at least the first like 5, 6 seasons, and I think 24 went on to like, I don't know, 13 plus seasons. At least the first 6 or 7 seasons, everything was Nina Myers. She was like the big baddie. And, like they'll have like they'll have like some bad guy terrorist person that you're following along, and then he gets caught, and then he's like, I got the secrets from Nina Myers. That's what Ghislaine feels like to me, where if they take her out right now, that would be the biggest mistake of all, because she's like the human Epstein files. Right now, she's got it all in her head. It's funny that nobody really tried to talk to her before this. When, people have been asking about the Epstein stuff for the longest time, and she's just hanging out. I don't know. It seems that would be so insane. And what's also very interesting? I didn't know. What I find very interesting is that I didn't know Epstein had a brother, and I didn't know Ghislaine had a brother. So, what I'm always very curious about, I know like they're not supposedly, allegedly, they're not involved, but you know what I was thinking about? So, I didn't know that Jeffrey Epstein had a brother. And I'm thinking about like how brothers and siblings are. You kind of like share, or you kind of get involved in each other's lives. I'm surprised that no one's taking a closer look into, and maybe they did. Sorry, I'm in my garage with a noisy laser cutting machine over there trying to make stuff. I didn't know that Jeffrey had a brother. I'm just surprised. And like I said, correct me if I'm wrong if they did. I'm just surprised that no one ever looked into Epstein's brothers. Like, okay. Jeffrey Epstein has a brother. Jeffrey Epstein was a billionaire money launderer. I'm just curious. When I get back into my computer, I'll do some more research on like, I didn't know he had a brother. I'm just curious to see what is Epstein's Jeffrey Epstein's brother's life. Like, is he also a billionaire? Because like that would be wild. Like, imagine that if your family made two, because like usually in the like when you're brothers and siblings, like one does well, and the other one's just kind of like floating around. But if both of them are billionaires, that's suspicious. And especially, here's the other thing, okay? If Jeffrey Epstein's brother is not a wildly financially stable person, I would say that's also very suspicious. Because everybody went to Epstein, supposedly, allegedly, because he was like he's like a math guru, right? Like, the greatest mathematician that they ever lived. That's why everyone went to him, apparently. And, if all these high-powered people went to Epstein to get all their tax advice, supposedly, but we all know what they were really going to him for was the laundering. Like that was his real specialty, making large sums of money disappear. I'm just wondering if that was his specialty. You don't think that he would have helped his brother out a little bit? That's why when I get back into my office, I want to see if Jeffrey Epstein's brother is also financially like very stable, because that would be very suspicious to me. Oh, the machine's not even heating up. Oh, nice. But the laser cutting machine is done. Okay. Boop. Alright, laser cutting machine is done, so you don't have to hear all that noise for now. I'll finish cutting later. I'm waiting for this machine to heat up. As it's heating up, get everything else ready. But yeah, like, I'm just curious about Epstein's brother. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein was the master of making money disappear. You don't think he sent a little bit to his baby brother? I don't know. That that does seem very interesting to me though. Or okay. From what we gathered, Jeffrey was very generous with his planes and island apartments, whatever, right? You don't think he let his brother in on any of this? I don't know. Again, allegedly, supposedly, throw that out there. Alright. First part. Next thing you gotta check all the letters. This one cut out okay. Okay. So you guys are just joining now. Earlier, see I'm making flip it over this way so you guys can see. This is gonna become a kid's clothes hanger, backpack hanger. So it's this piece, and another piece. This piece is the back part. I'm gonna sand it. There's another piece that goes in front of this. I'm gonna sand this, and then I'm gonna add the pegs, and I'm gonna paint it. But this is the first piece done. And then this person ordered two, so I gotta make the other one. Let's see, what else is going on? What else do we want to talk about? Oh, okay, that's another thing I want to talk about. I'm sorry, it's still related to the Epstein stuff, but you know, that's what everyone's talking about right now, and it's like sparking. The files thing. I thought that was pretty interesting. The files, because you know everyone wants the Epstein files, but we're getting all kinds of other random files that not a lot of people were really asking for. So I thought that was really funny. The MLK files. It was funny that I don't know if you guys saw this, but MLK's daughter came out and she was like, "That's great." And you know, I guess they released some more MLK files. Everyone was asking for it. Everyone wanted those files apparently. And then now she was like, "That's great. Now do the Epstein files." That's amazing, because in a way, the releasing all these other random files was a mistake. Is a mistake actually, because it shows that he does have the authority to do that. Because you know, like, there are times where he said like, "Oh, you know, I don't have the authority to do that. That's a different department. You know, like I'm not involved in any of that." But the fact that they released all these other random files that I guess people were asking for. I didn't know people were asking for the MLK files or all these other files, and but it shows that he does have the power to do the Epstein stuff if he wanted to. If he wants to. Okay, okay. Machine heating up. Make sure everything is aligned. Oh. Oh my goodness, I'm just looking at this now, and if you guys have been here for a while, you know what I'm about to say. One of my most popular designs is the head chef, sous chef apron design, custom apron design. And every single time I've said it every single time. When people order this, for some odd reason, they always do. I'll make it and then I'll show you guys. But they always do. So the design is head chef, name, and then the year that they're together. And 90% of the time, people order this design, they always put the guy as the head chef, and then the other, it's couples apron. The ladies as sous chef, and I keep saying it. If you're, and I don't want to throw out where you can get it. If you find it, you find it. But if you do find it and you decide to order it, please, for the love of your relationship, put the female person as the head chef. It'll just make everything. You're welcome. You're welcome. That's all I'm gonna say to that. Down the road, if this becomes a thing, you know that I told you so. I told you not to do that. And yeah. All right. Shin's heating up. Oh, still. Okay. What else are we gonna get into? Ozzy Osbourne passed away. The Prince of Darkness is now in eternal darkness. Let me think of. I wasn't big into Ozzy's music. I'm more of like a hip hop person, but you can't deny that Ozzy had a huge cultural impact on a lot of different lives. I mean, even people that weren't into Ozzy Osbourne's music still watch. I mean, this shows you how old I am, but I feel like Ozzy, the Ozzy family were the Kardashians before the Kardashians. Like that's, or, I mean, I didn't really watch the Kardashians. Did that come out at the same time? I just remember. No, the Oz family must be before because I don't remember the Kardashians being on TV when that show was on, and that show I feel like was the first successful time that we got to follow a celebrity family and just like lived with them and experienced their life through their day to day, supposedly non-scripted. Who knows? I mean, it must be scripted a little bit. Come on, you don't think some producers getting there and like saying things? I mean, like the Kardashians, that's super scripted. I mean, how is it possible that they are just like no one does anything besides sit around and shop and what I don't know. But yeah, I'm trying to think. You know what's crazy about Ozzy passing away now? We thought Ozzy was gonna go away like I'm talking about like sleep into the eternal darkness. Um, a long time ago. So for the fact that he like survived so long after so many scares shows you that when it's your time, it's your time. I think that's what it is. Because like you've heard those stories of like the healthiest guy in the world and does everything right, exercises, blah 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 blah, and then goes away at like 60. Then you hear the stories of like grandma who drinks every day and smokes 8,000 packs an hour, lives to 112. you know what is that? What is that about? Is it like I wonder, is it because like the people that live that way, like the 8,000 packs a day, drinking a bottle of vodka every other hour, whatever. Is it just that they're just more carefree with their like they don't stress as much? Because if you're living that way, you don't stress about anything, because you're kind of like I'm gonna like about the thing about cigarettes. It's like, oh, each one you inhale or whatever, it takes like so many seconds of your life, right? There's that thing where your heart can only beat, at least this is what I was told, and I think it's true. Your heart has a certain number of beats, right? This is what I remember being told this when I was in either health class in high school or when I was doing sports. That your heart has a certain number of beats already, and what you're doing when you exercise, and at least getting your heart strong, is that you are making it, allowing it to use, you're using less beats in the long run. Yeah, I remember some kids like, yeah, but when you're exercising, your heart beats faster. And then the coach was like, yeah, but when you're resting and not doing anything, your heart is stronger, so it doesn't have to work as hard. And so over the long run, you're gonna extend your life. And now that I think back on it, I'm like, that is because I'm like, but you're using, this is maybe the idea, the argument of long term versus short term gains, because like in the short term you're using a bunch of beats, boom, 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 boom. But in the long run you are extending your life. I don't know. Now I think more about it, I feel like it's all bullcrap because like there's people that just like, and of course there's so many different factors that go into that, but like there are people that like, I don't know, when they're 50. So I don't know. Who knows? I'm waiting for this machine to heat up. I feel like I should get the next piece of wood cut while I'm here. So, yeah, that's what that's done. So, excuse me, while the machine's heating up, I'm gonna start setting up this, and once I set up this, I'll be done. Whoa. I'll be done. I'll be done. You know, also what I was thinking, that so many bribes are going out. What do we have to do to get some of that bribe money? I want some. I want to get some of that bribe money. It seems awesome. I gotta work harder. I gotta get into position. I think, is that the goal in life, to get into a position where you can, someone will think it's worthy to bribe you. Like, why are you working so hard to become head of surgery? So I can get the bribes. Oh. Oh, that's the other thing I saw today. Okay, speaking of bribes and corruption, it's kind of related. You know, I talked about alligator Alcatraz a few times, right? And it could be a little bit harder. I've talked about alligator Alcatraz a few times, and you know, as it's going, alligator Alcatraz is like, you know, there's more footage of it now and stuff and stuff. And you know what I was thinking about with alligator Alcatraz? I'm thinking how many bribes went into getting that place built. Because think about it this way, okay? When I think about construction, I think about how shady the construction game is, right? You know, like you get a contract for, let's make it easy, $1 million, you know, and you know you price, there's like pricing algorithms, and they price it at like, oh, for us to actually build it, it's like 500,000 or whatever, and then you're like, oh, there's this much overage, that's the profit, right? And then you know, the project manager would be like, hey, okay, this is the profit. How can I make a little bit more? And you know, when they bid on the jobs, usually they internally they already know, they have a rough idea of how much money is needed, right? Let's say you're building, I don't know, this sandbox or something like that, and you say it's this sandbox is gonna cost $1 million, right? And then you know they have some pricing person analyst go into it, and they're like, oh, the contract is worth $1 million, and our analyst says that it's only going to cost us, let's just say, $500,000 to build this sandbox. And then, let's bid on it, and then you win, and you're like, sweet, we got it. um so the analyst said it was going to cost us 500,000, the contract's worth $1 million, great. And then some project manager comes in, and he's like looking at it, and everything's already laid out. When they priced it, they go, oh, to build this we need this many beams, we need this much sand, we need these many screws or whatever. And then the project manager can go, that's great, but if somehow, let's say, you get a better deal on, I don't know, the lumber that's needed to build the sandbox, or the sand that's cheap. They found you found another supplier that's a little bit less. But the analyst already priced it that it's gonna cost you 500,000 to build the sandbox or whatever. That savings you could easily just pocket it, just shoop, shoop, you know, pocket it. And that's when I think about construction biz, I think about that. Or you do, I mean, I know they do that all the time in China, but so, and oh, the the reason why everything gets built so slowly in America is actually because of something similar to that, where there's like money that's been taken out here and there and here and there, and everything, it slows everything down, and it makes everything so expensive. Like, in, I'm in California. That speed bullet train thing is like insane. It's like billions and billions of dollars taking forever. While like in other countries, they literally built the same thing for like a fraction of the price. You know? And it's because people are taking off the top or something like that. Like it's, I don't know. Aw, I gotta cut one more thing. One more thing needs to get cut. Alright. Walk with me. Follow along. Anyways, alligator Alcatraz. Okay. I believe. Sorry, I don't remember exactly off the top of my head how much alligator Alcatraz costs, but I believe it was like 200 million or 170 million to build alligator Alcatraz, or was it 400 million to build alligator Alcatraz? And as we're getting more and more like footage and like stuff about alligator Alcatraz, I'm like, it costs that much to build that? And so like when I think about that, I think to myself, like, how much money is getting skimmed off this alligator Alcatraz project? That's really what I think about when I look at that alligator Alcatraz pictures and photos and whatnot. I'm like, dang, so much money got skimmed. Like, that's crazy. Is anyone else curious about that too? I don't know. I just think, like, because I'm like 770 million, 400. Again, if someone can put that into the chat, that'd be great, so I can know exactly. But I remember it was in the hundreds of millions. We'll just leave it there. And then we see the pictures of it, right? And it's like chain link fence, one bathroom, whatever, for the whole community, for the whole area, like all that fun jazz. And I'm like, oh, and it's just like concrete and what. I feel like we could have built, for that price tag. I feel like you could have built something. And of course, don't get me wrong, it's prison, y'all. It's not supposed to be nice, but at the same time, when you say that, and then I see the construction, I see the work, and I'm all like, yeah, it's prison. It's not supposed to be nice, but it's also not supposed to. It doesn't seem like it's supposed to cost that much. Am I going insane here, or what? I don't know. I just don't feel like it doesn't look like it costs that much. maybe there's someone out there that knows more about construction. I mean it was built on top of a swamp. So yeah, I guess I give them some leeway there, but if if that's the reason why it costs so much because they built it on top of a swamp, I feel like it would have been way cheaper to build it somewhere else in Florida and just bring in the alligators and build a moat. I don't know because 100 again, someone out there put in the chat what is the actual price tag. Because I off the top of my head, I want to say it was 400 million. But it I don't know. I see the construction. It doesn't it does not look like it's 400 million. Anyways, I am about. Well, I gotta wait for this thing to get cut. Machine's heating up. Do, 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 do. What else can we? What else is going out there that I find super very interesting? Let's see. Yesterday I talked about the Denise Richards thing. That's crazy. Talked about the Shannon Sharp thing already. Touched on Ozzy Osbourne. Oh, you know what I found very interesting is I mean I still use Facebook. I know a lot of people don't use Facebook anymore, but at least I like to just scroll through just to see. I like to see like the random news articles that are on Facebook, even though like 99% of them are fake. But what I always find very interesting about that is that okay, today I saw a image of it was like oh the fake movie trailers or fake promo for movies, like AI generated movie trailers and whatnot. You know what's crazy is the amount of people in the comment section of, for example, today I saw that they're gonna do like the promo was they're gonna remake they're gonna do a Married with Children reunion movie episode, whatever, and it said like the synopsis of the story is Al Bundy finally saves enough money for a vacation or something like that, which would be totally funny, except that if I remember correctly, Married with Children already they did a Hawaii episode already. Because I remember him in his shorts or whatever on a lawn chair, shirtless, in like a vacation spot. But is Diddy out? No, Jay, Diddy's not out. I believe if you want some Diddy updates, I believe Diddy is not supposed to his sentencing or whatever is not until October. I believe that's what's going on, Jay. Yeah, I believe his sentencing not until October. But okay, the fake movie promo posters. What I find very funny is actually the amount of people that are in the comment sections of these things, say like they think it's real. Like that's I don't know. Like how can you believe that they're gonna make a Married with Children like reunion type episode? That's I don't know. Is that like our modern time? Like you know how like there's those whole like industries set up to scam elderly people. I feel like if I was in that industry right now is the time to really um like I feel like if you're in Nigeria and your business is scamming old people or India or wherever those call centers are, I feel like right now is the time that they should go really, really hard. Right? Because as more and more people get used to AI, it's gonna get harder and harder for them. So I bet you actually that there is some person in in Nigeria or India or one of those scam, like scam call center places that is making millions of dollars right now because of the AI revolution, and people just haven't caught up to it yet. And if you're in that industry, I will say that you have like a good 2 or 3 years until people get really, like, really, really, really acclimated to catching on to what is AI and what is not. Like, because like I'm shocked about how gullible I guess a lot of people online are. Like I'm looking at the poster, right, for this Married with Children movie trailer, and I've seen it before. Like a lot of people get like tricked by like random movie trailers of like uh Top Gun 8, still going, still Maverick, and then I'm like, what? Well, anyways, the Married with Children poster, it had everyone, but they had Christina Applegate when she was like, I don't know, it looked like that's when she was like 10 years ago, because I'm like, people, Christina Applegate, I don't think can walk anymore. She has M- MS, I believe, or she has something like that was crazy. There was that show that I was watching with that she was on, and it was a really good show, but because of her condition, they had to write it in that her character like suffered some like medical condition, and then that's how they explained her appearance like later on the show, and then they just like ended the show. And it was like a top hit show. And I was very sad because you know growing up, Married with Children was one of my favorite shows, and I like seeing. I don't know. I like to root for these actors that get put into like a pigeonhole, and they bust out of it, And I was like, dang, Christina Applegate in this role is doing awesome. Like she got another big hit going for her afterwards, after Married with Children, which is awesome. And uh, seeing what's his name, Ed O'Neill, the guy who plays Al Bundy in Modern Family, just like having a second run, a big second run, is awesome to see. And so when we find out that Christina Applegate gets has MS or whatever, and then they had to basically end the show because the whole show was about, she's like the main character of the show, along with the other. Oh, I'm trying to remember the name of the show. I just know it's about another girl. I believe her husband passes away or something, and then they end up having to do crime, I guess, to stay afloat. And she kind of befriends Christina Applegate, and then they just kind of do crime together. It was something like that, one of those kind of shows. And but yeah, they had to end it because I believe that they were money laundering in that show. I don't remember the name of the show off the top of my head, but yeah, that was a really good show. And then yeah, so I'm like, down the road, as people get more used to AI and all that stuff, it's gonna be so much harder. So if you're into the scammy biz, you know, uh, now I guess now's the time to go hard in the paint for scamming. Scam, scam, scam. Let's see. Oh wait, so wait, you saw a picture of Diddy? Diddy out? I mean, is he? I don't know. I gotta go take a look at it. Um, because I stopped paying attention to it because the case is basically over, and I remember seeing something about his next hearing date or whatever for sentencing is not until October, and then the judge denied, because they're saying like, I remember Diddy's lawyer team was saying like, since the case is over, blah blah blah. Oh, I'm on the computer, so I'm not on the computer, so I can't look it up. But I'm just curious to see. I mean, he could be out on bail or whatever because while he's waiting for sentencing, because it didn't make any sense why the at the time I believe why the judge denied his after the verdict came in, you know they kind of said like, oh, you know, can he be at home now since for while he waits for sentencing. I actually am curious to see what does he get sentenced, how much time. I believe that now keep in mind I haven't looked it up yet, so I'm just going off my feelings. I believe at most he'll get a year, and if they count time served, then he should be out because I think he's already done a whole year. All right, boom. Sous chef, head chef. Like I said, it's the most popular one that I do, and every single time, I'm saying 90% of the time, I'll show you guys. Oh, you guys can't see it's mirrored, but this is Nathan as the head chef, and I'm saying every single time. And I don't want to say where you guys can find it. If you guys find it, you find it. That'd be great. Um, Police order this design. It's head chef, sous chef is the couple's design. Please order the head chef as the female person in the relationship. Sous chef should be the male. I'm telling you, down the road, it might not come up, but if it does come up, you're welcome. I just saved you a fight somewhere down the road. All right, back to Diddy stuff. I believe the thing that I thought was very interesting though about this whole now that we're at the end of the Diddy stuff is that the last update I saw, the judge came out and said, you know, can you guys find me some reference cases for because you know the judge has to do the figure out how long does Puffy need to be in jail for or whatever, and he wants to get some reference cases so he knows exactly how long for him to be there, you know, because the maximum is 10 for the charges that he's facing, but the judge cannot, or at least it doesn't look good if the judge gives him 10 while let's say if I don't know some other guy did something very similar, and of course no one's going to do this exactly the way that Diddy did it, but if someone else did something very similar and he only got 2 years, so that doesn't work. So the judge was like, hey, can you find me some reference cases so I know, what to how long or what his sentence should be, and then I guess they can't find any cases that are similar to this where I guess they are he's technically counts as the person not involved in the actual acts itself. He's like a side character because Cassie's the one that's actually engaged with the worker, and so they're like, this is it's very strange, and so they don't have any reference cases to go on. So I feel like at most he's gonna get like a year or 2 years. Um, at least that's what I saw. Other like lawyer type people were saying that based on what they have and other past cases of something similar to this, as close as you can get, they've never seen anyone get more than like 2 3 years. So and he's already served a year. If they count the time served, he could be out like pretty quickly. All right, I'm done with my orders here. And then I'm gonna get the cutting machine going. I got some other errands. I'll be back later, hopefully on the computer. And then so I can actually look things up. That would be best. All right, see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out. Bye bye.